All right, man. So I decided to make a video just because it was way easier than me typing stuff out in that PowerPoint. So here we go. I'll take you through how to get this thing to work, and hopefully, I mean, you're definitely one of the smart ones on there, so I'm not too worried about you being able to follow along and figure out what's going on. So first and foremost, go ahead and open your file, your start today. I'm using your 1.8 before, but it shouldn't just the process should be exactly the same. So go ahead and open your start today file that you're going to use. I've already pre-exported all the stuff I need. Like I said, there's 8 files you need. So you have your player file, which is the main player one that we always use. You got your season stats one, which is where all the information goes to point to the specific stat table. And then you got your 6 different stat ones right here. The parentheses right there, that number is very important. I have a feeling it's going to be the same when you have to run it in your file, since I am using your former start today one. But they can change. So we need those numbers that are linked to each table. That way the tool knows what it's doing, and I'll show you how to do that later. But when you save your copy, just put that number in parentheses. So for example, we can go season offensive like that. So the parenthesis number, like I said, is the one right there. Is you want to make note of that because you may have to change it into the tool, because it does change here and there depending on what franchises you use. So like the offensive stats one was 4282, so I just put it right at the end right there, 4282, just for easy reference. That way I can go back and look at it and stuff like that. But basically, those are the tables you want to export. So your player table, your season stat table, then all 6 of the season stat tables as well. So your defensive kick, punt return stats, your defensive stats, kicking stats, offensive kick, punt return stats, offensive stats, and O-line stats. Again, take note of the numbers in parentheses because you want to you may have to use those later. So once you got all that stuff done with the exporter or with a franchise editor, go ahead and open my tool. And this is going to be the page you want to start at. It's season stats separate. So this is where all the player information will initially go before it separates everything into its different stat sheets. Okay. Right here in these green boxes, the numbers that go up here are the numbers I was telling you about just now that were in parentheses. So offensive kick return stats 4117. We go back to our sheet here. Kick return was 4117. So those numbers are the ones you're going to want to put into each box, and that's what tells the tool how to which stat table that the players are supposed to go to. So just make sure that's correct. That's the only thing you can click on this page other than the buttons is those boxes. So just make sure those are correct before you run the tool. And then once you're there, you just click fill all season stats info, and it's going to pop up. We're going to end up having 8 boxes pop up, so just be prepared. I have everything written out, what you need, and what order it goes in. Don't make a mistake on opening the wrong one because it will mess everything up. So let's be slow on this one. So we're going to do the player table first. So there's my player table. I'm going to do the season stats table next. That's this one right here. There's a lot of information happening too, so it can slow down a little bit, just so you know. Now when you click this one, this is where all the formulas start to get ran. So it takes a little bit. After this though, it's going to be quick. So we're doing the offensive kick punt return, which is right there. Defensive stats, right there. Kicking stats, right there. O-line stats, right there. Offensive stats, right there. Defensive kick punt return stats, right there. And we're done. Okay, so this table right here, this, like I said, this just breaks everything up. You don't really have to worry about it or do anything else with it right now. But everything's set now. So you have all the stats that are in the game, and now over here you have, and you can edit all this stuff. I left this open so obviously so you could edit the stats and stuff. And then over here you have the player that is associated with that row. So you can see right here David Johnston's stats from last year is all on this row, and that's how you would adjust his stats. Okay, it's that way for every single one. You got your defense stats, kicking stats, O-line stats. If it's blank, obviously that means that there's no player associated with that row. So you have everything here. You can go back and you can sort by position. You can sort by name, first name, last name. Don't sort by this row ever, because that's the order you want it to go in. And when we export later, we're going to need to keep that in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. So yeah, don't do that. So yeah, that's basically it. Once you put in all your stuff that you want to adjust, okay, so let's say David Johnson, I want to make his receiving yards 1,142, and I want to give him 15 fumbles and just make it easy, 1,000 rush yards, right? Let's go 1,000. Let's just do 1,000. Just make it easy. Let's just do 1,000 for everything. Why not? Okay. That way we know it changed. Kick return yards, 1,000. Okay, so say we're done. We're all done with this. We want to export it now. So if you go all the way to the right, you'll see an export thing. Just click on it real quick. Boom. Okay. It's going to take you to whatever the last tab is. Don't worry about that. It didn't delete anything. It didn't do anything. But what it did do was, if you go back into here, you're going to see our offensive kick punt return stats export. Okay, so that's what we just did. And you're going to go back into the franchise editor, and you're going to find what we did, offensive kick punt return, right? So find the season one, right? And we're going to import that file we just did. Offense. Imported successful. Row number 1, David Johnson, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. We're done. Everything's good to go. So you do that with each table that you want to use. I don't think you guys are going to do O-line stats, but I just did everything because it was a lot easier to do it this way than to separate everything. But yeah, dude, that's it. Pretty freaking basic and simple. Like I said, I'm really proud of this one, man. Like, I think it's going to be really easy for you to knock it out. Anyway, so when you're all done doing everything you need to do, you don't want to have a file that has all this information in it, because it'll be like a 20 megabyte file on your computer. You just go back to the season stats separator, click on clear all for new import, and it clears everything out that you don't need anymore. And that's it, man. You're done. You're good to go. Easy peasy. Hit me up if you have any questions, all right?